Hey everybody, welcome to the European League of Football podcast. I'm your host, Nick Alfieri, aka Nauf. Today we've got a very special guest, somebody that a lot of people are really excited to see back in Europe and to be playing in the European League of Football. He's had a great career so far in Europe, dominating in leagues in Germany, Italy, and Austria. This season, he joins the Helvetic Guards in Switzerland. A guy I've known for quite a while. We've played against each other. I'm glad I don't have to play against him anymore, and I can't wait to see him playing this year in the European League of Football, Silas Nacita. The one and only, the man that I hated playing against the most for all the years. I despise him on the field. I like him a lot off the field. Silas Nacita.
Why did you hate playing against me? I don't understand.
I can send you about 40 clips of why I just hated playing against you. I have just nightmares about missed tackles and you spinning around, and you got out of some of these situations that just haunt me to this day. So I'm glad that I'm retired and I'll never try to tackle you again.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Anyway, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to the ELF podcast. For those who don't know who you are, probably those few who don't know who you are, can you give a little background on your football life and where you are now?
Yeah. Real quick, grew up in California where I played up until I was 18 years old. Then I played 1 year in New York at Cornell University, transferred to Baylor University in Texas, sat out a year, played a year, lost my eligibility, which kind of made me end up in Europe because I didn't have any opportunities in the States. First season played in Marburg, Germany, then second to Frankfurt, Germany with the Frankfurt Universe, which pretty much is Frankfurt Galaxy now, and went back to Marburg in 2018, went to Italy in 2019 with the Guelfi Firenze, was done basically for COVID year, and then 2021 as well. 2022 came around, played 1 month basically in the Austrian Football League with the Danube Dragons and kind of reopened that door. And here I am now in Switzerland playing with the Helvetic Guards.
Awesome. Now here in Switzerland after a storied football career so far, to say the least, I would say storied.
Mm-hmm.
Can you touch on the stuff that happened in college, the NCAA stuff, the ineligibility stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So in 2013, I was playing in New York. I wanted to play at a higher level. So for those who don't know, there's a few different levels in the States. There's the highest level, which is Division I FB, as in boy, FBS. And then there's Division I FCS. And then there's Division II, Division III, NAIA. And I was in Division I FCS, and I knew I wanted to play at the highest level in the United States. And so I decided to leave, go to Baylor, which is one of those FBS schools. But I couldn't pay for school, so I had to sit out a year. And basically during that time, I didn't really have any place to live. I was couch surfing, which is just staying on my friend's couch. A friend's grandparent came to me, said, hey, we know you don't have a place to live. They provided a place to live, an apartment, normal apartment. And then the next year, this would be 2014, I'm playing at Baylor, play the full season at the end of the year. Basically, long story short, I'm off the team because I accepted that help to have a place to stay. And 2 years of my eligibility gone. It's pretty crazy. With the NIL now, it wouldn't be an issue at all. So like if I'm playing 5 years later or 5 years in the future, none of this ever happens. And so even without NIL, it was a pretty crazy story that was pretty documented everywhere because it didn't really make sense. Either way, that's the past, and without all that happening, I don't end up in Europe anyway, so I don't have any bitterness.
Man, that's so crazy that you say that. I mean, it's so true. Like if this happened 5 years later, it'd be no big deal. It would be nothing. But it was such a big deal back then, and I think most people would agree, pretty ridiculous thing and a ridiculous way to treat a young college person. But just like you said, I mean, because I was going to ask, do you have bitterness from that? But perhaps that point in your journey is what made you end up in Europe and kind of sent you on the journey that you've had so far.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think I have bitterness. I do. I mean, it's still kind of hurtful in a way. I live in the city in Texas where my university was at, and I'm not really welcome. It's not like a welcome back type thing. I don't really go to the facility anymore. And now a lot of that has to do with the scandal that happened like a year after all that happened with me. So not a lot of players aren't really welcome back, but it doesn't. It's hurtful in that I don't really feel like I have a college home. It's not like they really like. I should say, like they don't really claim me. So you're not going to see Baylor posting anything about me playing in the European League of Football. Any of the success that I had in Europe, they're like the university's not going to ever be like, oh yeah, that's our guy. Like it's more so like, we don't really want to be associated with him, and that's always tough, But I like I said, I don't really have that heart of feelings towards them. They got to do what they got to do, what's best for their university, and I'm going to do me.
Yeah, I mean, makes a lot of sense, man. I mean, that's got to sting a little bit, but like you said, maybe you don't end up in Europe without this juncture on your journey and having the experiences that you've had in Europe, playing in all the different places and countries that you mentioned earlier. How was it? You played in Germany for a few years and then in Italy. How was that experience, the change, that transition? Culturally, off the field, and on the field, the football aspect?
I would say that Germany is at their highest level, like their best players and best teams, they're at a higher level than Italy. But in the middle, it's pretty similar, talent-wise and teams against teams. And I mean, I loved it. It's a totally different culture. The Germans are so much more structured, clean, on time, efficient. The Italians don't give an F.
Hey man, I have an Italian passport. I can vouch for my people.
Yeah. The Italians are so much more. How do I say? Not in a hurry.
Yeah.
They chill. They prioritize other things, which is awesome. Like they'll go and eat lunch for 2 hours, and but you show up to a place to eat at 9:00 and nobody's working because they're all just 45 minutes late. And that's how they do things. Which you gotta. That's why I love Europe, because everybody's different. So I loved Italy for its culture and art and beauty, but I also loved Germany for the fact that I knew what to expect a lot more with the culture. But either way, football was the universal bridge. Right. So you always felt like at home.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, having football, having a team, teammates to be with and to have as a support system is always a great thing. So now, 2023, like you said, you're with the Helvetic Guards in Switzerland in the ELF. What made you decide to come back and play this year? I mean, because I know people have been, you had a prolific career for a while and people have been begging you to come back and play in Europe basically every year since you left. Why was now the right time for you?
Well, the biggest reason was my business was in a place that I could leave it. I started a business in 2020, around COVID, and I mean, it takes some time to get a business to where it can be sustainable. And thankfully, I had the right people and was able to do it rather quickly to where I feel comfortable leaving it in the hands with the people that are there. And so that was probably number one. But number two was definitely the curiosity to see what this new league was about. I mean, those reasons are pretty similar. Like, one was more of a logistical thing, but the other was more from the heart, which was I love European football. Like, I love seeing the purity of the players and them just wanting to be on teams that are legit and professional. And since I got here in 2016, you and I both have been huge advocates for football over here. You know, I'm always I've been promoting European football longer than the ELF has, you know, and then when I saw them show up and do it, I was like, finally, like somebody who has more money than me is promoting it. And so I was like, yeah, you know, this is pretty legit, and I still am healthy and feel good. I want to go be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's so cool to see the league grow. I mean, this to me has the feeling of what I always felt like the potential of football in Europe could be. There's been a lot of good players. There's been a lot of good teams, but the way it's been all put together has not been living up to its potential. And that's what I feel like is happening now, which really excites me. And it's just so cool to see, you know, you're playing from Switzerland. You're going to be playing against, I think your guys' season opener is in Barcelona. Then you're going to be playing teams. You're in Munich, Innsbruck, Stuttgart. Like, just to be playing teams in different countries like this and have it all be connected is such a cool thing. How has it felt to be back on the field practicing with the team?
It feels good. I feel good. Yeah. Honestly, I feel better than, maybe at the same level or better than I used to. I've been doing CrossFit the last few years. And so I've stayed in shape. I feel good. The one thing I was missing was just being on the field. And I've been here for a couple weeks. After a month of being on the field, we have a scrimmage or a whatever friendly match with Paris next week, and that'll be a real good test. But overall, I feel really good. I'm impressed with the Swiss players. We got a pretty strong team. This is the most talented team I've been on in Europe. Simply because we got some, you know, all the best Swiss guys. You know, it's a small country, but we basically took all the best Swiss guys, and so I feel pretty good about this season.
What would have to happen for this season to be a success for you?
Dang.
I come with the hard hitters.
I know. Okay. I'm trying to give you a good answer too, not just like what my real answer would be like, bro, it's already a success getting to live in Switzerland, be a part of this team, be a part of the league.
That's a great answer.
But yeah, but that's like boring. You know, I guess I'll give it like just the second answer would be, I think we could go to the playoffs. I think going to the playoffs and I mean, obviously winning would be the best, but it's tough to say. You know, I've never been in Switzerland. I've never seen Swiss ball. I know the other teams that are good. It's going to be a tough league, but like I know that we can compete. So it's tough to say exactly as far as wins and losses goes.
Right. Playoffs.
There you go, playoffs.
Guards to the playoffs. You heard it here first.
No, guards winning it, bro.
Let's go Guards, man. Let's go Guards. You guys are coached by pretty prolific coach Norm Chow, who has a lot of big-time college football coaching experience with BYU, UCLA, Hawaii. Probably
USC.
Forgetting some. And then USC, also big.
Where you went to school.
Oh, yeah.
For a month.
The film school of which I dropped out. And then Tennessee Titans, a little bit of NFL action. Mm-hmm. How has that been to have such an experienced coach heading up the team?
It's really cool, man. This is the best coaching staff that I think I've had in Europe. Just because we have so much experience. We have like 5 American coaches or something like 6. That's the most American coaches I've ever seen in Europe. Normally you get one, maybe two, right?
That's crazy, yeah.
That's another thing that I look at and say we got a pretty good edge on a lot of teams is we got American position coaches. That's not really common out here, and so that is really reassuring for me. But a lot of these guys, man, coaching the NFL for so long, and they just know everybody, and they all have great stories. So, the other day, Coach Chow he'll randomly drop these like huge names. He'll be like, I just texted Carson Palmer the other day, Phillip Rivers was a great guy. He was a great quarterback. He coached Phillip Rivers. He coached Matt Leinart, Carson Palmer, Reggie Bush, all of these guys, man. And he would tell us stories. He told us this great story about Reggie Bush playing kick return. He said the USC Trojans in 2003 or 2002 national champions, he said they had a kick return for Reggie Bush that was right, left, right, which was, Reggie, do whatever the hell you want. And so,
it worked pretty well, didn't it?
I mean, Reggie Bush was my idol growing up, Like, I grew up not far from Southern California, and just watching him, I was probably, elementary, junior high when Reggie Bush was at USC, and so he was the guy that I wanted to be like. Obviously, I was never going to have his speed, but he, watching his highlights made me love football.
You have a little bit of his shake, I would say. I wonder, man, where you line up all over the field. I have seen you play every position in Europe except for O-line, I think. Yeah. I don't know, maybe D-line. You line up all over. Mm-hmm. Receiver, you play quarterback a little bit sometimes. You're known for your running back skills. Where do you feel most comfortable? Is it being a running back and being in the backfield?
Probably most comfortable as a running back just because I've played it the most. But I have the most fun playing quarterback just because I never played quarterback in the States, like never. And so getting to come out here and just play quarterback is fun to throw the ball in a game. And my form is absolutely horrendous. It just looks terrible, but I get the ball to him, so that's like all that matters. And but also I really like playing receiver too. So I think I like receiver and quarterback almost more at this point, just because I've never got to play them, so it's more exciting. But I'm most comfortable at running back.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, a while back I was talking to a guy who was an import here in Schwäbisch, Will Powell. And he played receiver. That was like his professional position. And then he went and was an import in Serbia where he played quarterback just because, he was the best at everything and he was the quarterback. And he was like, this totally reinvented my love for the game and just made me fall back in love with football. It's like, man, this is fun. You don't really expect so much from me because it's not really my position. Sorry, my doorbell's ringing. But it just kind of reinvigorates the love for the game to play something that's not technically your position. I remember some of your dimes, though, back in the day against us. And one deep catch that you had over like 3 of our DBs where there's a photo. It's a brutal photo. Cool for you. Tough for us.
I think Cody was one of those guys, I think.
They are to remain nameless, but Cody was one of them. But I remember, man, it's so fun. It was so fun when we would play each other back in the day.
Yeah.
It was just like, I don't know, man. Those were exciting games. And I remember just us preparing against you guys for the week. Like, gotta stop Silas.
Yeah.
And somehow.
And you guys, you did enough, always. We never beat you. We never beat the stinking unicorns. I played the unicorns 2, 4, 6, 7 times. I think I'm 0-7 versus the unicorns. I think I want to say I was 0-4 with Marburg and 0-3 with Frankfurt. Maybe 0-2 with Frankfurt, but regardless.
Man, some of those Frankfurt games were crazy. Those were crazy, man. Those were awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is, go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's what I feel like is going to be in like almost every game in the ELF.
Exactly what I was going to say. I feel like those games were kind of teetering on the pinnacle of what European football has in its potential. And that's what we have to look forward to this year with the league is like every single game is going to be something like that. Close, competitive games, lots of fans. I think it's just going to be the top of the top, man.
Tell me what you're doing real quick with the Surge.
With the Surge? I am a brand partner with the Stuttgart Surge. Okay. So I am I'm going to practice now and then. I'm making some content for them, making them a lot of Instagram reels, promoting them on my Instagram or my YouTube channel a little bit. And it's pretty cool for me because these are all guys that I've worked with for years. I know them all so well. I'm really close with so many of them. So it's super fun, just kind of not missing a beat. Being able to, you're a football player, and football becomes kind of a part of you. And now that I'm retired, I lose a little piece of that. But to kind of be able to be around a team and still get a little bit of that team vibe is something that I was searching for and something that I got there. So that's what I'm doing, man. And then this podcast.
Love it, man. You're
and
great
like I
for
said,
this.
man, thanks, bro. Retired, so I never have to try and tackle you again. It's my main motivation.
That was it.
That's it, man. All right, thanks. Silas Nacita, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on the ELF podcast. I think so many people are thrilled to have you back in Europe. I know personally I am. I can't wait to watch you play, and it's going to be an awesome year, man. Good luck this year.
It is. I'm very excited. Thanks for having me.